me romance. Read me romance. Read me romance. Read me romance. You could take a look in a book, that's fine. Or you could sit back, relax, and unwind and read me romance. Read me romance.
Welcome back, lady listeners.
Hey, lady listeners. Welcome to a new week at Read Me Romance. We are super excited to have Kenya Wright with us this week. Yay! I don't know. I felt like we should pause for applause, but it's like I don't have a button that does that. I should get something like a little button that just like claps. But
Cool.
Kenya Wright has brought us a book called Fatal Lust. That cover is hot. You know, I'm a sucker for pink, but that one is super sexy. But we were talking before we started recording, we were looking at some of her books on Amazon. Go check out her Amazon page. If you have not experienced Kenya Wright, you are in for a treat. She has tons of audios. That was the first thing we both noticed was like she's got, I think there's 34 that are listed on here audiobooks. She's got a ton of books, but some of her covers are really striking. One that, which one?
I like the one with there was a Christmas one and had an ornament and there was like blood.
Yes,
which isn't normally my thing.
Yeah,
but I was like, that was kind of badass.
It does. Mobsters and mistletoe. It's like the font is really pretty and gold, and there's like snow, and there's this pretty silver ornament, and there's blood splatter on it. It looks really good. It's kind of like something about it reminds me of like Krampus a little bit, where it's like oh, pretty, and like, you know, there's something sinister about it too. So love that. And then the other one I really like the cover when I was looking through them. It's called Dirty Flowers, and I said the woman on it looks like Gabrielle Union. It looks like her on the cover. Maybe it is, I don't know, but the cover is gorgeous. She's got these beautiful flowers in her hair. And so yeah, go check it out. She's also got this one series that's You and the Alpha Chronicles, where it's mirrors and there's like flowers all around it, and it's giving like fairy tale vibes a little. I don't know what about it, but both of those I love them. It's called Romancing You, and she's got them on there, book 1 and 2, and they're just, one's red and white, but just go check them out. Like I said, she's got a ton of books, a ton of audios. And we're going to talk a little more about her stuff in a little bit. So before we get into that, I asked you beforehand, and I said, I have not been reading or anything this week. We had more animals show up on our porch on Monday.
I cannot believe the amount of animals that show up at your house, especially when you're on such a busy road.
I know. And we're really close to downtown. I don't know
why.
I never
have animals show up.
And you're out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Yeah,
you kidnapping them here.
I know. You have a farm. Like, they should go to you. You could literally just let them out back and they'd be fine.
No, a lot of people put some in their barns and just let them go. They neuter them and they can run free. They feed them.
Yep. So I don't know. My friend told me I like posted up on Facebook. I posted pictures of the dog so I could share it with like rescue groups or whatever. And she was like, "You're like a really shitty Disney princess." I was like, "Yes, that's exactly what it is." I was because these fuckers showing up are not helping me clean, cook. They're not sewing me a dress. This is bullshit. I said, Disney lied to me. Okay. Disney lied. So yeah, I had a mama puppy or a mama dog. She's very young, I think, and her puppy show up. I opened the door, and the puppy's sitting on the little mat, and she's sitting in the yard like, "You're not going to turn him away, are you?" I was like, that bitch knew. She fucking knew. And then she came over, and I said, "Sit," and she sat down, and I was like, "Damn it! Like, why are you so good?" They're so sweet. They're so good. But like our shelter's full here and it's a mess. And so everybody I've talked to is like, oh, it's the time of year where dogs and cats all have their babies at one time. Like, I guess it's the first like bit of spring is when it happens. And I looked, and yesterday was Shadow's birthday. He was our first porch kitten that we had. Yesterday he was 4 years old because we got him during COVID. So I was like, yeah, okay, sounds about right. So
that's how I got my Maine Coon, was born about this time.
Yep. Sunny, we found Sunny in July. So he was a little later in the summer. But I mean, he was like, I think he was like a week old when I found him. But yeah.
Yeah. You already have enough cats that you've rescued already.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what, so the two that we got most recently, I gave them a bath and I put them in the guest room. And because my sister-in-law, thank God, she's a saint, she's gonna take them for us. I'm so happy. But she's gonna keep them both together, which I'm really happy about because they're very close. But yeah, I put them in there and we have like a crate and everything already set up from all the other cats we've had. And I think this is cat number, which one is it? I think it's I think there's cat number 6 and 7 that we've had now. Yeah. Which I'm like, I think that's right. Maybe it's 5 and 6. I'd have to go back and count. But yeah, of all the cats that have been left on our porch, I was like, I said, it's getting around. They've told the dogs now. The cats have told the dogs. It's the problem.
They're like spreading it around.
I know. So I'm just going to put
everybody in, guys.
They're like, the sucker on PD, like, go get her. Like, that girl's a dummy. She'll just feed you like an idiot.
I can't get, every now and then I've randomly seen like a cat and I'll like try to feed it. It like wants nothing to do with me.
It's like, bitch, I know you got 4
I'll
cats.
Like try to lure it into the house. I'm like, come here. And they're like, no.
You're like the witch in the candy house. They're like, no, you're gonna eat me. Meanwhile, I'm like putting up barbed wire fence around my house, like they're just climbing over it. Like, hey, you got any kibble? You got nibbles? You got games on your phone?
Oh God.
God, it's a mess. So this
I've
is
read a little bit, but I've been like
Mm-hmm.
knee deep in a trial. If anybody knows about the Care and Read trial, I'm into that. I'm not even going to begin to explain it because
it's so
it takes
good.
5 years.
I love how invested you are in it because I get to hear about it, but I only get to hear the important stuff. I don't have to watch all the dumb shit to get the juicy details.
It's being aired and it's been on for, I think we're day 11. Was yesterday or tomorrow's? I don't know. Whatever.
But you said it's going to go on for weeks though, right?
It's supposed to be 8 weeks, they predicted, but the prosecution is really slow. So I don't know. I think it's going to definitely go 8 weeks. But I just listened to it. So I just put it on and I'll pause it sometimes. So I'll get behind, but I can then skirt through like lunch break and sidebars and all that stuff. But I'm listening to all of it because it's going to be an interesting case. I told Leah, Netflix is in the room.
Yeah, so we're going to hear all about it. But let me just from what you've told me, let me tell you what the synopsis of the case, okay? Just based on what you've told me. This is how I explained it to Kevin. I said, okay, so there was this woman and her man were out drinking, but she wasn't drunk. He was really drunk. And they go back to their friend's house and they're all a bunch of cops and everybody's drinking and stuff.
Well, she is charged with drunk driving.
Okay. So she gets mad and leaves him there and she passes out. And the next morning they can't find him. And she goes back to the house and he's laying outside dead. And nobody knows nothing. And so that's how I explained it.
Nobody knows nothing.
So I'm
10 days in and I don't know nothing.
I know. That was going to say. And that's like the synopsis of the case is like she's getting charged with maybe killing him by an accident
well, first it was manslaughter. Now it's second-degree murder. It's just a crazy. The feds are involved. The feds don't agree with the prosecution. Every day I tell her something insane.
Yeah,
it's
witness great.
Had a lawyer yesterday. I'm like, this happened. Oh my God! Like I can't even keep it straight. My head hurts. Yesterday I literally was like, my head hurts. I can't. And I was so frustrated and mad. I was like, I need a breath.
Seriously, ladies listeners, if you are watching this case with us, send us an email, readmeromance@gmail.com.
Tell me your theory.
Tell me your theories on this case. What's her name again?
Karen Reed. Because when I started this, I thought, she's drunk. She backed into him. First week of trial. I'm like, okay. She's drunk. She backed into him. but the people inside were stupid because they're all a bunch of cops. And they kind of like did the OJ thing where the cops were bad and they like did evidence, like looked it up and fucked with shit. And now it's all messy. Because I'm like, it's a messy. Messy. Like some of the evidence. They collected evidence in Solo cups, guys. Solo cups.
I'm listening to the details of this case, and it's just, it gets stupider and stupider.
And
I can't
and
wait
then
for
by
that
like the weekend, I'm like, these motherfuckers.
These cops
killed
him and covered it up, and now they're blaming her for it.
I keep backtracking because even though the evidence is so much, I'm just like, I cannot believe this many people are involved in a cover up. But then it's like, it's so bad. It's so bad. So yeah, if you're watching, and I've watched a lot of trials. I watched probably like 5 last year. You know, I'll pick really hot ones and I just listen through them But this is the most riveting one I've ever watched. I've never seen a lawyer this good in my life. I'm like, holy shit. This is
He's gotta be, to keep your attention like this. Yes. He's gotta be good.
When he's up, I'm like, oh, we're all like waiting for him to stand up. We're like, prosecution, shut up. Come on, go.
Let's get to the good stuff.
Like, he's up. What's he gonna say? Because he tricks us and he impeaches all the witnesses and turns everything around. I feel bad for some of them. I'm like, what? I can't even remember what they said. No, I'm confused.
Oh, I meant to ask, did you have a good Mother's Day? That was this past Sunday. Did you do anything special for Mother's Day?
I don't think, no, we didn't do anything special. I just hung around. They got me gifts and stuff.
That was nice. I didn't do anything either. I stayed in my pajamas and I watched movies all day. But I want to tell you the movies I watched because I think you've seen all of them.
Really?
Yes, I do. Well, the first thing I did, I watched Clueless. I watched Clueless with Lydia, and she had never seen it before. And I was like, well, you like Mean Girls. You'll probably like this. And so she liked it. It was fun. So
people always forget that it's a step romance.
I know. That's what I was thinking when I watched it. I was like,
and she's kind of a little too young. But
yes, she is. She's 16, and he's in college. I'm just saying, age gap, stepbrother romance. This is where it all started. Okay, this is where it all started.
Is that what it is? Clueless started this in my head.
Yep. Clueless gave us this twist. Okay, so we watched that, and then I watched Hot Tub Time Machine 1 and 2.
I don't know if I've seen 2.
It was fantastic. Both of them are terribly wonderful. They're so good. They're so funny. They hold up. They're both so stupid.
They remind me of like the classic like Super Troopers. Like,
yes, dumb shit like that. Yes, and then Craig Robinson, who is like the big black guy that's in it, that's in The Office and stuff. I adore him, and he's so good in those movies. And I loved him in Brooklyn Nine-Nine when he was Trudy Judy. What is it? Doug Judy. So he was in that, and he's the best. I love him. So I watched both of those, and then I watched Cruel Intentions. Ooh. Because I was on like a little bit of a kick after Clueless. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to watch Cruel Intentions. So I knew you had seen that, and then I watched oh my god, I watched The Hunt for Red October. Do you remember that one with Sean Connery? It was like from back in the day. It was like a submarine movie. I figured your dad would love that movie.
Oh, and probably.
I was going to say, you've probably seen it because of your dad. So yeah, that was.
I played it.
That was how I spent my Mother's Day.
He's hot. He's like daddy hot.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like 20 something years ago, like he would have been perfect for Brittany.
He would have.
I know, right? I still maintain she needs to hook up with Liam Neeson. That Britney Spears needs to be with Liam Neeson. I still maintain that. I did the legwork, guys. He's the only suitable one out there for her. All right, let's talk about Kenya Wright and Fatal Lust. Let's do it. We've gossiped enough. Oh, before I forget, I do want to mention Alexa Riley has Taboo, 3 new taboos out. So go check out the AR Taboo books. And also, we have a new release. What is it? He's All In. So make sure you check out those as well. And then until the end of the month, there's a book we have that's free right now. It's the
Arranging the Bride.
Arranging the Bride. Yeah, it's the first book in the Endora royalty series. So go check that out as well. And then you sent me one today. Was it Finding His Unicorn?
Oh, that wasn't on anything. I just sent it to the
Oh,
random
okay.
share.
Okay. I just wanted to make
promo.
sure I just want to make sure I promoted it in case it was on sale. But yeah, check out those for Alexa Riley. And also the book boxes are coming very, very soon. We're just waiting on proofs of the paperbacks and then they'll be up. So
Yay.
make sure you check that out and check back for that. So anyways, like I said, let's talk about Kenya Wright. Kenya Wright is a USA Today bestselling author of over 70 novels. 70.
They're long. They're not small like ours.
No, I know. These are like actual books. These are real stories, guys. For her 10-year career, she focused on increasing the presence of diverse characters in romantic fiction. She also writes mysteries that touch on societal problems. Her books have been sold all over the world and published in print, ebook, and audio. Whoop whoop for audio. In between full-time writing, she homeschools her 3 children. Oh my God. They live a nomadic lifestyle, traveling and connecting with amazing people all over the world. Homeschool, honey, where is your trophy?
I
Because
with Peyton, and he's a teen. I sent him over to my mom's during COVID.
I know, right? There's
Like,
no.
get out of here.
I had like 2 days of that during COVID where I was like, no, we got to figure something else out, guys. We're going to have the dog teach you now. I'm not it. So pat on the back, Kenya Wright, because that is legit a job. You got
Mhm.
this. But yeah, I love everything. And I love how awesome she is for audios. Like I love that she goes hard for audiobooks. Hell yeah. Today's book that you're about to listen to, again, it's called Fatal Lust. And I'll read you the blurb for that. Destiny was supposed to be just a mark, another job, another name on my kill list. But the more I watched her, the more she became an enigma, a beacon of something pure in the midst of the darkness that was my life. I knew the consequence of my decision would catch up with me eventually. Crimson Mob was not known for their forgiveness. Let them come for me. I'll kill them all. For her, I'd walk through fire and let the world burn.
I love it.
I love it.
Hero.
I'm telling you, that gets me every time. I love it. 10 out of 10. Perfect blurb. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so the book you're about to listen to is called Fatal Lust. If you listen in this book, the hero's best friend, his name is Omen. He is in the novel. Check this one out. It's called As You Are. He is another possessive assassin who it's an illustrated novel as well, which I thought was really cool.
Oh,
So
wow,
make
that's
sure you check
cool.
that out. Yeah, so we'll have the link down in the show notes. You can get that in there. And also make sure you check out her website, and we'll have that on there as well. It's Kenya Wright's book march. We'll have all that down there that'll be clickable for you. You can get the paperback to Fatal Lust in her bookstore along with As You Are. Her giveaway this week, she's doing 3 Amazon gift cards, so make sure you enter to win those. So, like I said, we'll have everything down in the show notes, and we'll be posting up on social media all week. You can check it out in our Facebook group, Read Me Romance Headquarters, or you can go on Instagram or Facebook, or you can go to readmeromance.com, and everything will be on there as well. So, that's everything for now.
All right, let's send them in.
Let's do it.
We'll see you guys on the other side.
This is Fatal Lust by Kenya Wright. Read for you by Hector Carrillo. Chapter 1. The Wolf's Temptation. Alejandro. I could never kill an angel, but I could possess one, consume her body and claim it as my own, explore every curve, every tantalizing crevice of her being. No, resist the temptation. The night air ran thick with forbidden desire. I stood by the window, ready to sell my soul. Moonlight spilled over my face. Across the street, she lounged in her apartment, just like every other night, oblivious, unaware of my watching her. Destiny Carter, The woman I was supposed to kill 3 weeks ago. But something inside me stalled. I couldn't do it. Why? Was it because she was gorgeous in a way that went beyond the surface? Full-figured with unapologetic curves. Her dark brown skin glowed under the lamplight, and I yearned to bite into that softness. Her hair was a wild, untamed waterfall of long, kinky curls. Many nights I imagined wrapping those curls around my fist, yanking her head back and devouring her very essence. The idea of having her at my mercy, it disturbed and excited me. Her gaze forced to meet mine, her pussy taking my cock in the most primal way. Would her eyes widen in shock? Would a gasp escape her lips? Stop it. I clenched my fists. Heat rose in my chest. I shoved away the thoughts and watched her with a hunger that I had never known. My angel. There was a quiet grace as she sat in her living room, absorbed in a book. It was these moments that made me question everything I had ever known about my line of work. No one had ever given me a job I couldn't complete. I was a professional assassin who never asked questions, never hesitated to pull the trigger. Yet, here I was, defying orders for the first time. All because of you, sweet angel. A small movement on the couch next to Destiny caught my eye. The puppy. I smiled. He had been a spontaneous gift from me to her, though she had no idea. I guessed that she was lonely. No visitors, no phone calls. Her mailbox always remained empty of personal letters and postcards that spoke of distant relatives. It was as if the world outside had forgotten her, or she had chosen to step away from it entirely. Driven by curiosity, I had even hacked into Destiny's digital world, a silent invasion I justified as a need to understand her better. Yet, even in the vast and endless space of the internet, she remained isolated. Her inbox was a deserted wasteland. No personal messages, no casual interactions, no digital presence. It was almost as if she only existed within the boundaries of those four walls. Was it a chosen solitude? A refuge from the world too harsh? Or was she forced to hide? It was odd, but her need for solitude resonated with me. I could see a reflection of my own isolation in her. I turned my gaze to the puppy that I had placed in a basket with a bow at her doorstep 5 nights ago. My heart swelled. Are you keeping my angel company? The fluffy ball of fur had a patchwork coat of creamy white and honeyed caramel. However, its most captivating feature was those big, mismatched eyes, one brown, one blue. I chose this puppy for its eyes, reminiscent of my own mismatched ones that earned me tons of bullying in school. Seeing the puppy nuzzle against her thigh triggered this deep feeling of satisfaction to surge through me. Yes, you're keeping her happy. As if hearing me, Destiny looked up from her book and ran her fingers through his fur. There was a gentleness to her touch, a kindness that seemed so rare in the world I inhabited. What did you name him, Angel? I squinted my eyes and noticed the new collar she put on his small neck. A pink heart dangled from it. Interesting. I hadn't only bought the puppy for Destiny's comfort. I'd hoped she would leave her apartment and take him on walks. But she never did. The day after gifting her the puppy, a dog walker arrived and took him out twice a day. When will you leave your apartment? I want to go through it and smell things, take something. I often wondered what her voice sounded like. Did it carry a melody that could soothe the turmoil raging within me? Angel. My hand reached for the locket around my neck, a habit I had whenever my thoughts grew too heavy. The surface was no longer smooth. Inside it was a faded picture of a black rose, a reminder of a past I could never return to. My phone buzzed. Surely it was Red Widow, the head of Crimson Mob. She would want to report soon on this mission. No, I won't kill her. I can't. I should have felt disappointment for breaking my rule and fucking up a job. But as I watched Destiny there, with the innocence of the puppy beside her, all I felt was an overwhelming sense of protectiveness. Why would the mob want to kill her? This was a question I typically never asked. She was supposed to be just a mark, another name on a list. Yet, to me, she had become something more, an enigma, a beacon of something pure in the midst of the darkness that was my life. An angel. The phone stopped buzzing, but they would call back again and again. Next, they would send armed men. Crimson Mob was not known for their patience or forgiveness, just for their twisted ruthlessness. Let them come for me. I'll kill them all. I watched Destiny turn the page of her book. To hell with them. For her, I'd shed blood, walk through fire, and let the world burn. Chapter 2. Naughty Angel. Alejandro. The next day the sun descended, the streetlights flickered to life, and once again my ritual unfolded. Watching Destiny. No reading this evening? Instead of picking up her book on the couch, she strolled into her bedroom. The puppy, a fluffy shadow, trailed behind her. Slowly, she took off her shirt and revealed smooth skin and delicious curves. My body vibrated with a desire I had long tried to suppress in this life. She wore a red bra that barely encased her breasts. Careful, Angel. My cock hardened in my pants. I leaned closer against the window. The cold glass pressed against the tip of my nose. She slung the shirt on her dresser and moved toward the bedroom window with an exquisite grace, her hips swinging gently in time to the rhythm of my heartbeat. Her hands slid down the buttons of her jeans. An insatiable hunger crashed into me. I grunted. It was a primal feeling, one that whispered darkly within my mind and uncoiled within my chest like a restless snake. Night after night, I imagined 1,000 different scenarios. The feel of her flesh against mine as I pinned her to my bedpost. Her soft cries filling my bedroom as she writhed beneath me. My fingers tracing every perfect curve until she trembled from pure ecstasy. The thoughts alone were maddening, but never enough to stop the burning need within me. She made it to the window and reached for the curtains. Show me just a little bit more, Angel. I scowled. Please. Destiny glanced out into the darkness and scanned the silent neighborhood. My hardening cock pressed uncomfortably against my pants. She paused momentarily, her gaze locked onto the front of her, right in my direction. Can you see me? I licked my lips. Her gaze broke away from whatever had caught her attention, and she drew the curtains, ending my perfect view of her. Naughty Angel. But then, a flicker of movement from the left caught my eye. What was that? I shifted my view to her living room window. The front door opened, What the fuck? 3 men, masked and dressed in black, slipped into her living room. No! I grabbed my guns, holstered them, and rushed off. My heart raced. Crimson Mob must have sent new assassins due to my not answering the Red Widow's call. They better not fucking hurt her. Fast, I rushed away and sprinted down the stairs, covering 2 steps at a time. A cold fury roared through my body. All of you will fucking die. I burst out onto the empty streets. Cool air hit my face. In no time, I crossed the road and reached her building. The entrance was locked. God damn it! I quickly took a slim piece of metal from my pocket and inserted it into the lock. The door yielded. Please be okay. I raced to the stairwell and rushed up the steps. My nerves flared. Each passing second could mean life or death for Destiny. I will fucking tear them apart. Once I reached her floor, I pulled out my guns and crept towards her front door. Distant barking sounded. Please be alive. I don't know what I would do if... My heart boomed in my ears, not from fear, but from the adrenaline of the hunt. The door stood slightly ajar. I got closer and saw the horrific scene. One of the masked men pinned Destiny against the wall. Terror filled her eyes. I sneered. He had his dirty hands around her throat. In the background, the muffled barks of the puppy echoed from behind her closed bedroom door. Don't worry, buddy. I'll get them. Meanwhile, the other 2 men tore through her belongings on the shelf, tossing books and trinkets aside in a desperate search. Where is it, you worthless bitch? Cold rage burned through me. You're dead. I kicked open the door with such force that it slammed into the wall with an ear-splitting crash. Both men whipped around to face me. Who the fuck are you? Snarling, the one by the books raced toward me with a knife raised high. Come here. Charging forward, I dodged his attack and delivered a thunderous jab to his chest. The knife fell from his hand. Screaming in agony, he crashed to the floor. I shot him in the head to make sure he would never get up again. I caught Destiny out of the corner of my eye, her figure frozen in fear. The second man raised his gun. Big mistake, buddy. Before he could even aim, 2 bullets exploded from my gun and smashed into his chest. The third looked down at his dead partners and let go of Destiny. Who the fuck are you? I aimed the gun at him and shut the door behind me. Back away from her, now. Hey, buddy. He raised his hands. You're walking into some dangerous shit. You may want to turn around and... Red Widow sent you? Yes. He widened his eyes. Wait a minute. You must be Lobo. Get your friend's knife. I gestured to the weapon on the floor. What? Get his knife and then cut off his head. He swallowed hard, the veins in his neck expanding and contracting. Why? I want you to take that head back to Red Widow and tell her that no one harms Destiny. You can't be serious. He glanced down at the man. It's either that, or I kill you and take your head back to... No! He fell to the floor and grabbed the knife. I got it. Hurry up. I turned to Destiny. She'd been watching me the whole time, but she didn't tremble or shed a tear. I tilted my head to the side. What did you name the puppy? She widened her eyes, and I could tell things were clicking in her head. Yes, Angel, I gave him to you. The most seductive voice left her lips. I named him Fang. My lips curved into a wicked smile. I like it. The man on the floor raised the blade to his friend's throat. His hand shook, but he held firm. With a swift movement, he dragged the blade across the man's neck. Destiny parted her lips, yet she didn't look away. A grotesque gurgling sound filled the space as blood seeped from the cut neck and pooled around the body. Still, no whimper of disgust came from Destiny. You've seen death and blood before. I tilted my head to the side. Very interesting. She moved her view back to me. Get Fang. I gestured to her bedroom. You're coming with me. A hint of fear flashed in her eyes, but she didn't resist. Instead, she rushed off. Very good, Angel. As I watched her, dark and depraved fantasies lustfully twisted in my mind. I could see her on my bed, bound, spread eagle, fully at my mercy. I kept the gun aimed at the idiot cutting off the head. He had a wild look in his eyes as he hacked away. Blood spattered onto his face. The sound of flesh tearing and bones snapping echoed around us. I glared at him. Don't forget my message. He paused midway, flicked a piece of gore off his shoulder, and looked up. I've got it. No harm comes to Destiny. Make sure Red Widow understands. Destiny returned, dressed in a pink shirt that hugged her breasts. Finally, I have her. Over the shirt, she wore a sleek black leather jacket. Its material hugging her shoulders comfortably, but not enough to conceal the telltale outline of a small gun tucked on her hip. I didn't know you had a gun. The subtle bulge was barely noticeable, but to a trained eye it was unmistakable. You're not a damsel in distress. You're a fighter. She held Fang close to her chest with one arm, while the other arm kept her hand close to the hidden gun. But what really caught my attention was the black bag she carried. I spotted an expensive laptop. High performance. She got closer and I spied a plastic bag near the laptop full of USB drives and a Wi-Fi adapter. I couldn't see the majority of the stuff, but I caught sight of some Ethernet cables and connectors along with a flashlight. No wonder I couldn't catch your footprint online. You're a hacker. Grinning, I backed up to the door. Are you ready? She glanced at the almost decapitated body, swallowed, and then gazed at me. Where are we going? Somewhere safe. I opened the door for her, curious to see her next move. Would she reach for her gun, or trust me enough to walk through? She stepped closer. What's it going to be, Angel? If she reached for the gun, I would disarm her. In this proximity, she wouldn't have the chance to escape. Destiny studied me. Her gaze went to my hand on the gun and then back to my face. I lowered it. Trust me, I won't hurt you. A flicker of something passed in her eyes. Then she walked by me, and I could sense the tension in her, the unasked questions hanging between us. But none of that mattered anymore. A wicked smile spread across my face. I have her, and now I will never let her go. Chapter 3. My Alluring Hero. Destiny. I followed him down the stairs in utter disbelief. If someone had told me that a tall, dark, and handsome savior would simply arrive at my doorstep and rescue me from the clutches of the Red Widow's men, I would have told them they were crazy. But here I was, truly saved. Gratitude surged through me. With each step, I took in the view of him. Is he Latino? His warm olive skin spoke of sun and earth. But it was his midnight black hair that truly entranced me. It was well-groomed and perfectly styled, effortlessly enticing. Then there was his physique. Not chiseled and defined for show, but rugged and powerful from a life of battle and survival. His every movement exuded strength and danger. How the hell did he come into my life? He was like a hero from a story, a character too intriguing and complex to be real, yet here he was, flesh and blood, mystery and danger wrapped in an indisputably attractive package. I thought back to his fierce and brutal handling of those masked men. Shit, I almost died. My whole life had flashed before my eyes. The late-night heists with Dad, thrilling yet dangerous. The quiet mornings with Mom, her distant eyes usually lost in a world of regrets, the bottle of pills always lurking in the background. Then, the final memory came, the one where I buried them both. I was about to die, and then he just showed up. We arrived at the bottom of the stairs. He held the door open for me. After you, Destiny. A wave of desire coursed through my body. Was it his seductive tone as he said my name? Or was it the intense gaze he kept on me? Thank you. I passed through the door. Fang wagged his tail, probably thinking it was time to play outside. Not right now. I gazed down at my fur baby and he licked my hand. At least we solved the mystery of who gave you to me. Silent, my hero guided me across the street. I eyed the abandoned warehouse over there. Where are we going? And should I be afraid? Granted, if he wanted me dead, wouldn't he have just let them do it? Instead of going into the abandoned factory, we walked around it. What? In the back, a sleek red Maserati stood, glowing within the moonlight. It was completely out of place in the gritty backdrop of this shitty neighborhood. How did it not get stolen? I gazed back at him. Well, he's not the sort of guy that anyone would steal from. He went to the car, opened the passenger door, and then hit me with that searing gaze again. Hold up. I looked at his eyes. Wait a minute. Just like Fang, he had one brown eye and one blue. Is that why you gave me the puppy? Either way, could I truly trust him? Deep in my heart, I really wanted to. I swallowed. That man called you Lobo. A smirk played on his lips. He did. That means wolf in Spanish, right? It does. He leaned his head to the side. Do you know Spanish? Some words. Then I'll teach you the rest. It was so odd, but that statement dripped with sexual promise, like he planned on fucking me hard as he tested me on vocabulary. And perhaps whenever I messed up the pronunciation, he would slam his cock into me harder. As if he heard my thoughts, a dark groan left him. I blinked. Where are we going again? Somewhere safe. But where is that? Far out of Shadow Heights and away from Paradise City. Close to the mountains where Red Widow and Crimson Mob could never find you. But I widened my eyes. Someone could find me. Do you want to be found, Destiny? I pursed my lips. I ask because you've already hidden yourself well, never leaving that crappy apartment. Only ordering food and reading books. Is that really the life you want? I tensed. How long have you been watching me? For 3 weeks. Horror hit me. Why? Red Widow hired me to kill you, but I couldn't, so... He pointed to the warehouse. I just watched you from there. Why couldn't you kill me? Because you're an angel. I'm not. I've done bad things. A dark chuckle left him. Destiny. We've all done bad things. I looked back at that car, knowing that if I got in, there would be no turning back. But then, he's already got me. I put my view on him. He's fast. Even if I wanted to run, he would catch me. Every instinct told me to be wary, to question his motives. Yet, there was something about him, a sense of understanding and shared darkness that made me want to delve deeper into the mystery that was Lobo. Angel, he whispered. Come escape with me. I parted my lips. To my shock, anticipation hummed through my heart. Think. Be smart. Growing up in a world of thieves, I learned to be tough to survive. However, there was no denying the pull I felt towards him, a magnetic temptation wrapped in mystery and danger. There was a part of me that yearned to understand him, to peel back the layers of my alluring savior. Okay, but don't let your guard down completely. I'd played dangerous games before. I understood the rules, and I knew that stepping into that car was a leap into a wicked unknown. Trusting Lobo could be my salvation or my undoing. But then, wasn't life always a gamble? Let's see. I climbed in. Chapter 4. Black Rose. Destiny. He sped us away, the car easily gliding through the streets of Shadow Heights. Fang rested in my lap. I gazed out the window. Neon lights streaked past us, turning into a blur of colors. Soon the city's skyline faded into a glowing haze, and with it, my old life drifted further away. I moved my view to the interior of the car, the luxurious feel of the leather, the quiet hum of the engine, and even the scent of money reeking from it. This was worlds away from the life I had known. He glanced at me. Are you nervous? Yes. Don't be. I quirked my brows. Your real name is Lobo? No, he grinned. It's Alejandro. I like that. He stopped us at a light. Good. I'm glad that you do. There was that sound again from his voice. The tone suggesting that he planned to make me scream his name over and over with his cock. Or maybe that was just my wicked mind yearning for it. I continued to watch him. But what do you want me to call you? He licked his lips and gazed my way. You can call me anything you want to. I'll have to think about that. Do that. He placed his view back on the road. The light turned green. He sped us off. I ran my fingers through Fang's fluffy hair. You're an assassin? Alejandro kept his view on the road. And you are a hacker. I widened my eyes. How did you know that? Your bag and the few things I could see inside. Of course. He's smart. Fang rolled to his back so I could rub his little tummy. I did just that. Do you only work for Crimson Mob? I work for anyone who can afford me, and that's not many people. I liked that he was quickly answering my questions. No hesitation, no stumbling on words. I leaned my head to the side. How would a person get in contact with you? He weaved us through the quieter streets. That's an interesting question. You don't want to answer it? He smirked. They contact me through a person that sends the message to another person, and another, and another. Eventually, I get it. So you had no direct communication with Red Widow? During the job, she had a special phone number. I tensed. Where's that phone? In the warehouse. He drove us onto Caviar Lime Highway. She'll never find me or you. I still would like to look at the security system at your place. I studied him. That's where we're going, right? It is. A dark chuckle left him. But in your personal opinion, would it be smart for me to let a hacker that I don't know take a dip into my system? It would not be smart at all. He gazed my way. Still, I think I could trust you, Angel. A delicious shiver ran through me. Damn, I must admit, he's fucking sexy. As if to not get further lost in him, I turned my view to the front. The highway stretched out in an unending ribbon of gray. The lights from the city were now mere specks in the rearview mirror. Holy shit, where are we going? Fang yawned and nestled closer to me. I smiled. Why did you get me a puppy? Besides the fact that I became obsessed with you? My breathing grew heavy. Yes, besides that fact. You look lonely. I was. Then I'm glad I gave him to you. But, I looked at him. You'll never be alone again. And I knew he meant every damn word. I could hear the promise, the commitment to it. Caviar Lime Highway shifted into a 2-lane road. I had now gone farther out of Shadow Heights than ever before. We really are going into the mountains. Alejandro's voice cut through the silence. You're not just a random target. The Red Widow would never send me for a simple reason. You must have been hard for her to catch. Those 3 men found me. Due to my phone. You knew they would come? I wondered. He glanced my way. What did you do to make the Red Widow want to kill you? Earlier this year, there was an auction for all the property around what the city would soon call the waterfront. This would be a mega project. High stakes, government involved, lots and lots of money. And dangerous people. A whole lot of dangerous people wanted a piece of this deal. I let out a long breath. My father died in a botched heist that Red Widow sponsored. My mother, she couldn't handle it and took her own life with pills. I'm sorry. I pushed through the sadness. Instead of Red Widow understanding my grief for their loss, she demanded that you pay her for the botched heist. Yes, and I was supposed to do that with a new job that would clear the debt and give me $20,000. Hacking. I nodded, loving how smart he was. I hacked into Shadow Heights' government system. He chuckled. Very interesting. I deleted other bidders. The few that I couldn't, I made it look like they had violations, crimes, things that the mayor would never want next to the huge project. And this was all to ensure Red Widow would win the bid? Yes, and when she won it, I falsified her bank accounts so that when they did a huge 30-day inquiry, it looked like she had more than enough capital. Did she? Not at all. I shook my head. After the city guaranteed her the waterfront, she sent men to kill me. All of the humor in Alejandro's face left him. In that moment, I could see the killer in his eyes. Clearly, she intended on tying up loose ends. Anger rose in me. I shot both of them. Barely climbed out of my window, almost broke my leg, and disappeared. I've been hiding ever since. And now you are safely with me. Am I? God, I hope so. I studied him. How did you find me? You did a good job of hiding yourself, but it's always those pesky fingerprints that are almost impossible to hide. One of my skills is tracking a person that way. Then next time I run, I'll do it with gloves and never take them off. He snapped his view to me. There will be no next time for you to run. I smiled. What about your family? My father ran a group of killers called Black Rose. I grew up in violence and death. Several years ago, one of his enemies got their revenge by murdering my mother. Oh no, I'm sorry. He kept one hand on the wheel and placed the other one on this locket hanging from his neck. I hadn't noticed it earlier. My father and I went after the men. Did you both get them? We did, but I lost my father in the end. Alejandro moved his hand from the locket and put it back on the steering wheel. At least he was able to see them lying in pools of blood before he closed his eyes. I trembled in fear, yet felt empathy too. Our lives, though different, were both marred by loss and shadowed by the underworld's ruthlessness. So, I watched him. You've been alone since then? I have, but I won't be alone anymore. His voice grew husky. Do you trust me, Angel? I couldn't help but smile at his new nickname for me. I'm getting there. Good. Chuckling, Alejandro turned the car off the 2-lane road onto an unmarked path, and we headed deep into the woods. The dense canopy barely let any moonlight through the above branches. He's driven this way in the dark many times. My heart raced. After about a mile, we came to a stop in front of what looked like a large hill. Now what? Those 3 men found me. Due to my phone. You knew they would come? I wondered. He glanced my way. What did you do to make the Red Widow want to kill you? Earlier this year, there was an auction for all the property around what the city would soon call the waterfront. This would be a mega project. High stakes, government involved, lots and lots of money. And dangerous people. A whole lot of dangerous people wanted a piece of this deal. I let out a long breath. My father died in a botched heist that Red Widow sponsored. My mother, she couldn't handle it and took her own life with pills. I'm sorry. I pushed through the sadness. Instead of Red Widow understanding my grief for their loss, she demanded that you pay her for the botched heist. Yes, and I was supposed to do that with a new job that would clear the debt and give me $20,000. Hacking. I nodded, loving how smart he was. I hacked into Shadow Heights' government system. He chuckled. Very interesting. I deleted other bidders. The few that I couldn't, I made it look like they had violations, crimes, things that the mayor would never want next to the huge project. And this was all to ensure Red Widow would win the bid? Yes, and when she won it, I falsified her bank accounts so that when they did a huge 30-day inquiry, it looked like she had more than enough capital. Did she? Not at all. I shook my head. After the city guaranteed her the waterfront, she sent men to kill me. All of the humor in Alejandro's face left him. In that moment, I could see the killer in his eyes. Clearly, she intended on tying up loose ends. Anger rose in me. I shot both of them. Barely climbed out of my window, almost broke my leg, and disappeared. I've been hiding ever since. And now you are safely with me. Am I? God, I hope so. I studied him. How did you find me? You did a good job of hiding yourself, but it's always those pesky fingerprints that are almost impossible to hide. One of my skills is tracking a person that way. Then next time I run, I'll do it with gloves and never take them off. He snapped his view to me. There will be no next time for you to run. I smiled. What about your family? My father ran a group of killers called Black Rose. I grew up in violence and death. Several years ago, one of his enemies got their revenge by murdering my mother. Oh no, I'm sorry. He kept one hand on the wheel and placed the other one on this locket hanging from his neck. I hadn't noticed it earlier. My father and I went after the men. Did you both get them? We did, but I lost my father in the end. Alejandro moved his hand from the locket and put it back on the steering wheel. At least he was able to see them lying in pools of blood before he closed his eyes. I trembled in fear, yet felt empathy too. Our lives, though different, were both marred by loss and shadowed by the underworld's ruthlessness. So, I watched him. You've been alone since then? I have, but I won't be alone anymore. His voice grew husky. Do you trust me, Angel? I couldn't help but smile at his new nickname for me. I'm getting there. Good. Chuckling, Alejandro turned the car off the 2-lane road onto an unmarked path, and we headed deep into the woods. The dense canopy barely let any moonlight through the above branches. He's driven this way in the dark many times. My heart raced. After about a mile, we came to a stop in front of what looked like a large hill. Now what? He lowered his window, and to my surprise, a red laser light shot out and slipped along his eyes. Not bad. Biometric eye scanning? Top-tier security, not something one would find in an average safe house. A beep sounded. The lights outside suddenly flickered on and illuminated our surroundings. A portion of the hill in front of us began to rise, revealing a hidden path beneath. It's like we're going into Batman's lair. Alejandro drove the car onto the revealed path. A minute later, I found myself in a massive underground garage with 10 expensive cars already parked there. I widened my eyes. Being an assassin pays well? Very well. Perhaps I should switch jobs. You'll never have to work again unless you want to. He left the car. Stunned, I hugged Fang to me and followed. stepping into this new, hidden world. Still, my mind pulsed with questions about the security systems, the technology that made this place impenetrable. It was a hacker's dream to explore such advanced setups, and part of me was eager to understand how it all worked, to delve into the secrets that this place held. But another part of me was cautious, aware of the reality that I was now in the hands of a man who was as enigmatic as he was dangerous. He turned to me. "Hungry?" "No, but I would love to take a shower or bath. That's what I was about to do before those creeps barged in." He slipped his gaze down my body. "Then we'll take a bath." I blinked. "We?" Chapter 5. Whispers of Water. Alejandro. Each moment with Destiny only deepened my desire for her. First, I introduced her to my butler, chef, and maid, who all took a liking to Fang. Then I gave her a tour of my massive compound. The bedrooms, private movie theater, the two-lane bowling alley, a well-stocked library, numerous bathrooms, and the modern kitchen. While Fang hung out in the kitchen with my chef, I cleared a space in one of the bedrooms for her to set up an office. This would be her new home now, and I desperately needed her to be comfortable. There, I watched Destiny in utter fascination. Her fingers danced over the keyboard with brilliant fluidity. In the past, it took skilled hackers days to breach my defenses. By then, I was behind them and slicing their throats. However, Destiny plunged into my digital world within seconds. I tensed. Her intellect was untamed, her focus intense. As she navigated through my security, I leaned against the doorframe and watched. The way her brow furrowed in concentration, the slight bite of her lip. So enchanting. I can't wait to be inside of you. A wicked smirk spread across my face. I also understood her ulterior motive for wanting to see my system. She was ensuring her safety, perhaps even searching for a way to escape. You're wasting your time, Angel. I planned to spoil her so much that the thought of leaving would never cross her mind. You'll be safe. You'll be loved. Completely. A minute later, in a hidden line of code, Destiny discreetly inserted an escape mechanism, a back door that bypassed the need for biometric scanning. I held in my chuckle. She was securing an exit for herself, a way out that didn't rely on my permission or presence. I could have stopped her. Instead, I placed my hands in my pockets and craved her more. Very smart, Angel. Sighing, she stopped typing and stood. Okay, I'm done. Perfect. I gestured to the laptop. You're even better than I thought. I'm glad I could impress you, she shrugged. By the way, your system is top-notch. It'll stop about 99% of most hackers. But you got in with no problem. Because I'm part of the 1%. I smiled. Then I'll have you strengthen it even more, since you'll be living here. She studied me. Just like that, we're living together? The moment I saw you, I knew you were special. I wanted to protect you. I left the doorframe. I want to love you, if you'll let me. A softness entered her eyes. She looked away for a moment, as if processing the intensity of my words. We'll see how things go. I extended my hand to her. Now for our bath. She took my hand. Her touch was hesitant yet trusting. About that,
Do we need to take one together?
It's massive. I won't even touch you. Unless you beg for it. I lick my lips. And you will. I led her out of the office and down the long corridor. Once we approached the bathroom, a beep sounded and the doors slid open, revealing a space that was more an ancient Roman bath than a mere bathroom.
Well, now I understand.
Destiny gazed at the polished stone walls veined with silver and gold. The scent of lavender rode the air. In the center stood a large bathtub, its size comparable to a small pool, its edges smooth and round. Steam rose from the surface. Candles surrounded the tub, flickering light across the water. I guided Destiny further in. The doors closed behind us. We stopped by the table stacked with fluffy towels, exotic bath salts and oils. I released her hand. Shall we?
Yes?
She swallowed.
But turn around.
Of course. Smirking, I did as she ordered and began undressing. The muscles in my back rippled and flexed with each removal of my clothes. One by one, they dropped to the floor. I caught a soft gasp from her and licked my lips. You're looking, aren't you, naughty angel? The sound of rustling clothes came behind me. Yes, angel, get naked. She whispered.
All right, I'm getting into the water.
My cock jerked. Tell me when you're inside. A soft splash, and then the sweet sound of her sigh reached my ears.
I'm in now, Alejandro.
My heart warmed. In this lonely life, no one called me by my first name anymore, not even my staff. I turned around and drank in the sight of Destiny. The soft glow of candlelight surrounded her. Bubbles and steam concealed that curvy body. Meanwhile, she took me in and widened her eyes. Do you like what you see, angel? I strode forward and lowered myself into the bath. Warmth enveloped me, easing the tension in my muscles. A dark groan left me. She smiled.
You needed a bath too?
I did. I cupped some water and rubbed it on my face. Watching you meant that I barely moved from the window. She blinked.
But you left to eat and sleep.
Barely. She parted her lips. Does that scare you? Rippling water caressed my skin. Destiny played with the bubbles near her.
How long have you lived inside of a hill?
3 years. Before then, I never felt safe. Always too out in the open.
I imagine an assassin has a lot of enemies.
More than you could ever fathom.
And so you found a hill to carve and put a house inside?
No, angel. I found a house to put a hill over. She chuckled. A smile tugged at the corner of my mouth. You find me funny?
I find you interesting.
Good. Then you won't be bored here.
I won't.
She leaned her head to the side.
Do you get a lot of visitors?
You're the only visitor to ever come here. The only woman to sit in this bathtub. The only hacker to enter my system and still be breathing. She bit her bottom lip. Destiny's presence, so close, was like a magnet drawing me in. I want you so bad. She quirked her brows.
Can we really do this, Alejandro? Live together? You don't even know me.
I may not know everything about you yet, but I do know this. You're the kind of woman who wouldn't be inside of this tub if she weren't drawn to something about me. She shifted her gaze to the bubbles. Steam rose around us, thickening, blurring the edges of reality, and leaving only the two of us in a world of warmth and lavender-scented water. She lifted her view back to me. You're right. There's something that's pulling me in, but you're dangerous. And you are too, I winked. That's why we're perfect for each other. She grinned. Let's hope it's that easy. There's no need to hope. We are in control of this. She parted her lips. I eyed her. Earlier, you didn't turn around when I got into the tub. Humor hit her voice. Well, I thought you wouldn't mind. Ah, I see. She tilted her head to the side. Do you feel violated, Lobo? No. You are to call me Alejandro. Then, she grinned. Did you feel violated, Alejandro? My body hummed with lust. No, Angel, but I would like permission to see you too. You can, but I'm not rising out of this warm water. I don't need you to. She shrugged. Then look all you want. Thank you. I held my breath and submerged myself into the water, letting it swallow up my shoulders, neck, and head. All sound muffled. Beneath the water's surface, my eyes fluttered open. A mild sting from the bathwater greeted me, but it was a small discomfort for the chance to see Destiny naked. Fuck. Through the watery lens, Destiny's body appeared blurred and distorted, but I could still make out the stunning curves of her hourglass figure, the contours of her hips and breasts, the gentle swell of her stomach, the inviting view of her pussy. A hungry grunt left me. I can't wait to taste you. Had I not needed to breathe, I would have remained there for days. Damn it. Resurfacing, I wiped the water from my face. She watched me. Amusement laced her voice. Did you enjoy that? So much I was willing to drown. I ran my fingers through my slick back hair. And did you enjoy your view of me? She licked her lips. So much I was willing to be eaten by a wolf. A dark groan left me. Careful, Angel. My being in this tub shows that I'm not really good with being careful. A sea of emotions swirled in her eyes. Craving her touch, I inched closer and closer and closer towards her. Water rippled around my body, and she remained there, watching me with no fear. When I got to Destiny's side, barely a foot ran between us. I reached out, my hand gently brushing her wet cheek. I knew you would be soft and silky. And I knew you would be gentle. Her eyes fluttered closed at my touch, and a sigh escaped her full lips. I could sense the walls she had built around herself crumbling, walls that I was now breaching, not with force, but with the gentle persistence of water shaping stone. Angel. Leaning in, I closed the distance between us, pressed my lips against hers, and devoured that mouth. Her taste was a symphony, a meeting of sweet and spicy that made my senses reel. Groaning, I wrapped my huge arms around and drank from her like a man starved. Our bodies moved closer, the water embracing us as we embraced each other. She shivered against me and raised her hands, running those fingers through my wet hair. Passion flared hot and bright within me. So intense, so raw, it was fucking electric. Exquisite. Perfect. As we finally broke the kiss, moaning and gasping, I rested my forehead against hers. Our breaths mingled in the steam-filled air. My body hummed. This is just the beginning. Her chest rose and fell. Water trickled down her breasts. I licked my lips. I think our bath is done. She shivered. It is? Would you like to see more of my bedroom? Chapter 6. Irresistible Desires. Destiny. The heat of the bathwater paled in comparison to the fire Alejandro had ignited in me. In fact, the vision of him stepping into the water earlier would forever play in my dreams. His rippling muscles had glistened in the candlelight, sculpted and defined. His cock hung long and thick between those thick thighs. And now, Alejandro wanted to take me to his bedroom. My mind screamed that it was too soon, yet my body ached for him, yearned for the wolf to devour me. In that massive tub, I wrestled with my emotions, the rational part of me cautioning restraint, but deep down I knew. I really knew. I had fallen for Alejandro, not just for the protection he offered, but for the man he was. Yes. My voice was barely audible over the drumming of my heart. Take me. Groaning, he scooped me up as if I weighed nothing, his muscles flexing effortlessly. Water dripped down our bodies. Damn. As Alejandro's arms enveloped me, I realized how empty my life had been before him. In his embrace, I found a warmth I never knew I was missing. Plus, the sensation of being carried in his arms was thrilling. Excited and beyond horny, I clung to him. When we reached his bedroom, the door slid open to reveal a space that was less a room and more a technological marvel. This place is a hacker's fantasy. The four walls surrounding us were unlike anything I had ever seen. They weren't made of painted cement or wood, but rather composed of large screens displaying various views of the compound. Alejandro lay me on his massive bed and hovered over me. The soft mattress pressed against my body. Lying under Alejandro, I felt my emotional walls crumbling. How did this happen? For the first time in a long time, I allowed myself to trust, to believe in the safety of his arms. His gaze remained on me as he uttered a single word. Beauty. Instantly, the screens shifted, transforming the room. Gone were the views of the compound, replaced by a mesmerizing display of a glowing electrical forest at night. The trees were silhouettes of light, their branches and leaves outlined in a vibrant neon glow. Gold flowers bloomed on the forest floor. Iridescent fireflies danced and twinkled among some of the leaves. Digital turquoise birds took flight across the neon screen walls, their wings beating in tandem with my racing heart. It was like stepping into a different realm, a digital landscape brought to life. Soft, soothing, lo-fi music rose in the air, its rhythm slow and calming. Yet, even in this magical forest, I was only drawn to Alejandro. His body was a living sculpture above me, solid and sexy. My heart pounded. Alejandro's dark eyes were pools of desire. However, in that gaze, I saw a reflection of my own soul, fractured yet resilient. Were we not two souls scarred by life?
Could we find true solace in each other's embrace? Alejandro broke the silence.
You already know that you will forever be safe with me.
In those words, I heard not just a promise of protection, but a vow of eternal care.
However, Angel,
Breathless, I whispered, "Yes?"
are you still willing to be eaten by a wolf?
Fuck yes. Groaning, he leaned down to kiss me, his lips soft yet demanding against mine. And I surrendered, needing him, craving him. Our breaths mingled together. I ran my hands across his back, feeling every ridge and dip of his muscular physique. Hot desire coursed through my veins as his fingers traced patterns on my skin, every touch leaving trails of fire. It was as if Alejandro were writing a story on my body, a tale of passion, desire, and longing that only he could read. Each touch from him ignited not just my body, but also my heart. It was as if every caress was mending old wounds, healing me from the inside out. Then his mouth moved from my lips to my neck, trailing kisses down to the valley between my breasts. So needy, I moaned. His warm breath danced against my skin as he went lower and lower. Oh, fuck. Delicious shivers ran up my spine, awakening every nerve ending in my body. He buried his face between my thighs and consumed my very soul, licking and lapping at my clit, probing, plunging, and thrusting into my pussy with relentless hunger. I gripped the sheets and arched my back. Oh, oh! There he ate me, in the heart of this mystical, digital forest. Moans ripped from my throat. Right when I thought he might swallow me up whole, he rose, climbing the length of my body. His lips met mine again, and our tongues tangled in a fiery dance. Oh, God, I need more and more. As if hearing me, Alejandro pressed his thick cock at my entrance, and in one smooth thrust he entered my pussy, completely claiming it as his own. Oh, I gasped. Intense pleasure jolted through my body.
Dios mío.
Groaning, he moved slowly at first, his thrusts deliberate and measured, each one shoving me over the edge. Then he filled me completely, every part of him molding perfectly into every part of me. Oh, Alejandro! Intimately connected, our bodies moved with the rhythm to the lo-fi music.
Yes, my angel.
His hand reached down between us, his fingers gently brushing over my clit in time with his thrusts.
All mine.
Oh! The pleasure doubled, sending blazing sparks through my body. Breathless gasps left me as he increased his pace, moving faster within me. Oh, baby! I clung onto him, losing myself in the overwhelming sensations that washed over my body, each one more powerful than the last. I could feel the pressure building, signaling the approach of an earth-shattering climax. My pussy tensed and contracted around his cock. He growled and plunged deeper into me. Alejandro! His fingers continued their loving assault to my clit, sending wave after wave of ecstasy coursing through my veins. He thrust harder and faster, his hips slamming against mine, his cock reaching places I never thought possible. Oh, fuck!
Come for me, angel.
Oh! A powerful orgasm crashed into my fucking soul, making my whole body shake, spasm, tremble. Oh! Oh!
Angel,
Alejandro roared and exploded within me, his hot spurts of cum filling me to the brim, his face buried into my neck as his body shuddered above mine. All mine. His arms tightened around me, drawing me closer to him as we rode out the waves of climax together. My beautiful angel. Chapter 7. A Wolf and an Angel. Destiny. I lay within Alejandro's arms, relishing in the gentle rhythm of his heart. I shifted slightly and lifted my gaze to him. He'd been watching me the whole time like a wolf lingering within the shadows, monitoring his prey. I curved my lips into a smile, more than happy to be his prey, his game in a hunt. I just hoped our journey would never end. I whispered, "That was amazing." "No, Angel." He raised his hand to my chin and slipped his thumb along my bottom lip. "You were amazing." I blushed. Warmth spread through me, as intoxicating as the finest wine. Those dark eyes held a glint of mischief. Morning. And then the screened walls displaying the mystical forest transformed. The digital night gradually gave way to the soft hues of dawn. It was like witnessing a world reborn. As the dark sky transformed into a canvas of pinks and oranges, the neon glow of the trees also changed to match the warm hues. All the gold flowers on the forest floor twirled into tons of blooming roses. The iridescent fireflies faded away, and then the music changed. The soft, soothing, lo-fi beats that had lulled us through our lovemaking transitioned into a classical melody. Violins sang a gentle, awakening tune, accompanied by the soft murmur of a piano. Smiling, I took it all in. This setup is genius. Being inside of a hill, I miss the sun more than I thought I would. Then we should explore the forest around us sometimes. Once I've assured that Red Widow has given up her search for you. She will. I turned my view back to him. And if she doesn't, we'll deal with her. He smirked. We will. Nothing can get in the way of this. I raised my hand and traced a circle on his chest. And what is this? I think it is. I paused and watched him. I think this is the beginning of a love so strong, so intense, it consumes us both. I swallowed. I've dreamed of a love like that, but I never thought it was possible in this world. And now we have it right here. He gently traced the curve of my cheek, his eyes soft as he said, With you, Angel, anything is possible. A swell of emotion swept through me like a tidal wave, drowning out all doubts and fears. His words were more than just some romantic promise. They were a vow. I focused back on the steady rhythm of his heart. I believe you. The digital sun rose higher above the treetops, casting the whole space in a golden glow. Soon, digital forest animals emerged. Pixelated deer cautiously stepped out into the clearing. Squirrels scurried along the branches. Suddenly, a growl sounded. What? Then Fang began barking and racing after some of the deer on the walls. Alejandro and I laughed. I sat up. I didn't know he was in here. It appears he can hide as well as us. Very true. Alejandro's gaze softened as he looked at me. Tell me something. Yes? The men back at the apartment were searching your bookshelf. What did they want? I have footage of Red Widow asking me to do the job, as well as tons of evidence of what she wanted deleted. You kept it all? I never trusted her, so I kept it as insurance. After she sent those guys to kill me and I got away, you delivered your own message. I did. I sent videos straight to her phone, laptop, and all the TVs in her mansion, letting it play over and over for a full day. I'm sure she got some hacker to end it. He chuckled. My angel. I lay back down and returned to the warmth of his hold. It took a while, but Fang eventually tired from his chase of imaginary deer. Once done, he jumped onto the bed and curled up beside us, his small body rising and falling in rhythm with his gentle snores. And there we lay, wrapped in each other's embrace, watching as the digital sun climbed higher. Our conversation drifted into future plans like breakfast in bed and morning walks, and then we spoke of grander dreams, traveling the world together and building a future. In that perfect moment, I realized the promise of forever didn't seem so daunting. It felt right, like the missing piece of a puzzle that we had both been trying to solve independently. A wolf and an angel, locked in a dance that transcended the laws of nature, woven from threads of yearning and passion. So close to falling asleep, I whispered, Alejandro? Yes, my sweet angel. For the first time in a long time, I'm genuinely happy. That's because what we found right now, it is rare and precious. Yes. That is why I will never let you go. Promise? Promise. Perfect. My eyes closed and slumber lured me into a beautiful dream where a wild and fierce wolf prowled a glowing forest, searching for something to eat. And there he stumbled upon an angel, one who had fallen from the heavens, her wings bruised and tattered. And this wolf, instead of preying upon her vulnerability, he offered her shelter and warmth, and more love than she had ever known. This has been Fatal Lost by Kenya Wright, read for you by Hector Carrillo.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, lady listeners. I am so excited for this audio. Like, the blurb hooked me. It got me so good. So, like I said before, we recorded, or before we played the audiobook, if you enjoyed Fatal Lust, then you'll enjoy the hero's best friend, Omen. He's another possessive assassin who stars in Kenya Wright's illustrated full novel, As You Are. And you can get the paperback for Fatal Lust and As You Are on her website, and that link will be in the show notes. And make sure you check out this week's giveaway as well. That's on there. Thank you so much to Kenya Wright for bringing us Fatal Lust. I'm so excited that we were able to play it on the podcast. This was just, I'm so excited. I love it. Up next week, we have Lenore Solis. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing her name right, so I'm going to reach out and just double check. But the book that she's brought us is called Now Us Again. So I'm excited. I think it's under a Second Chance Romance. I think she has it tagged on that. So I love it. So she was really sweet. We're excited to have her on the podcast. So
One day you're gonna be like, this girl was mean, and I loved it. Instead of
I know, right? I'm like, she was such a bitch. I love this book.
I did want to mention to everybody just randomly, if you are interested in the trial and you want to catch up and you don't have the time to listen like I do, there's a guy on YouTube called The Lawyer I Know. His name is Peter.
Mhm.
Every day after the trial, he plays it on 2 times and he just stops over key stop, and you can do him in like an hour.
Oh,
And he
nice.
goes over everything. He's a trial lawyer, and he goes over everything, and he'll stop to explain a few things here and there.
Mhm.
And he just whizzes right through it.
Oh, that's nice.
So you
So
can
it's
go
like
to
a quick
his, and you can
notes.
even start from the beginning and go day 1 because he's got them all labeled. But every day after court, he goes live and he does that.
That's awesome.
I'll put his name in here for you guys to check out if you want to do that.
Oh, and I remembered earlier too, you mentioned the Patreon, and I know we forget to talk about that sometimes. So if you are interested in older episodes that you're like, oh, where's the audiobook? Can't find it anymore. Go check Read Me Romance out on Patreon. All of our archived audiobooks, because they only allow us to have so many episodes published at one time. We have to archive the old seasons, and it's on the Patreon, and every week you get an audiobook. Is that right?
Yeah, about every week you get an audiobook and an ebook.
Mhm.
You
Get
at
an
least
ebook.
get 3 a month.
Yes. So you get 3 audiobooks and an ebook a month. Is that right on
You
there?
get a couple ebooks a month.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah. So make sure you go on the Patreon and check that out if you want anything extra. The ebooks are great because they come from all different authors. Some of who have already been on the podcast, some of who haven't, but just send us ebooks anyways. So as soon as we get them, we send them your way. So make sure you check that out. And it's a great way to support the podcast.
Yep.
So yeah.
100% of the proceeds goes to making new audiobooks.
Absolutely.
All
So
right,
yeah.
so tell them what to do.
Fuck your day up. Make today your bitch. Don't be a dick.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Read me romance. Read me romance. Read me romance. Read me romance. You could take a look in a book, that's fine. Or you could sit back, relax, and unwind and read